All right, folks, this is why I don't like mud wrestling, because it detracts you from other stuff that you got to do. Because this is mud wrestling week for whatever reason. Now, I have come to my page. This is my Evernote notebook, which I keep in. I keep all my articles and stuff that I want to collect, and these are just the articles that I have. Now, this is over a period of 10 years. As you can see, I have 14,610 notes. So these are basically mostly articles, just like you see here, that I have collected over a period of 10 years. These is just the stuff that I've collected, read through, glanced through, and found out that they are different subjects that I'm interested in, or that I think that are interesting enough to actually discuss about. Now, one reason that I didn't want to get mixed up in mud wrestling about the black community is because of just that. It does basically mud wrestling by the black community hasn't solved anything because people do hide what they say. Now, of all the black folks that I've talked to, and professors that I've talked to, and people that do access, Thomas Sowell is not one of the people that they talk about. In fact, the only people that really talk about Thomas Sowell, to from what I've heard, that have tried to introduce me to Thomas Sowell are Jewish conservatives. Are Jewish conservatives. When they talk about John Henry Clark or Dr. Ben or whatnot, they never talk about Thomas Sowell. Just like they don't talk about Larry Elder or Shelby Steele or any another one of what we call the black conservatives. Now, as far as reading is concerned, and now what he wants to talk about, I'm not widely read. Okay? Now I am going through, these are just some of the articles that I've gone through. Some of the articles that I've gone through. There's one, let me type this in real quick since I'm here. If I can do this. I do believe I can. Let's see if I can search. There's a search function. Asia Times, something I found a long time ago, which most people don't know about. See if I can find him. Searching my notebooks. See if I can find him. Let's see if I can find Henry C. Caillou. Hopefully I can find him. And this is not my normal function. Because most guys, there we are, Henry C. Caillou. Most people, Chinese with capitalism with Chinese characteristics. Made in China, Secrets of China's Dynamic Entrepreneurship. In other words, reviewed by Henry C. Caillou. Okay. Global Economy in Transition, Henry C. Caillou. That's Mish. Well, in other words, I have tons and tons and tons of Henry C. Caillou that I've read that nobody ever heard of. Austerity Fails Policy Test. In other words, just because I have not read Invoker, it's time for real change. That's something that most people don't want to talk about. Evoker. because it's almost Volcker time, but that's another subject. But we're going to get into what's widely read, or what he goes for what's widely read, because he pulls out he pulls out one author that he happens to like, and he says just because I don't particularly like that author, that I should read him or even crack open a book of his, because nobody has ever given me a reason that I should read this particular guy, that I'm not even curious about Thomas Sowell, because everybody that I talk to says, everybody that I ever talk to, they're not the first person I talk to. The subjects I'm interested in, his topic doesn't come up. Asia Time and Henry C.K. Luke, when it came to economics and how things change, because that's what I go by. Who's right? Who says something that's right and it actually comes true? Henry C.K. Liu has been around and doing economics for China for, I think he stopped doing it in 2013. But the thing is, his stuff is timely, it's on the money, and it's almost book length. Just because you publish for as a in philosophy, and you're supposed to be in economics, doesn't mean much to me. Well, like I said, if Obsidian can show me that he has a database of 14,000 articles that he's actually read through, then we can talk. Other than that, no. But we're going to get to something else. I want to show you my book list, because he's showing me, he's trying to tell me, he's trying to show you that I'm not well read because I haven't read what he's read. Let me just show you my reading load. Now, this is just my Kindle. Okay, this is not the books I have on the ground. This is not the books that I have to order that are in that are in my possession. This is my own personal library. Okay, this is some stuff I have to get to, some stuff I haven't gotten to yet. But let's just take a perusal, just as of my of the stuff of my library, the stuff there's some stuff I have read, like the Boy Problem I've read, the Fairer Sex I have to go through. I've read the sample. This is another one. I through the frame. I don't remember where I ordered this one. I haven't read this one yet. Rhyme I got to get to. The Secret Life of Cheating. I read the sample, didn't like it very much. Daughters of the Trade is one I got to get to. William Julius Wilson, who is a sociologist, who actually has done the work, who actually is very well recommended amongst anybody that does social work and talking about the black problem, because he actually wrote the groundbreaking book, Truly Disadvantaged, and When Work Disappears. Gods of Money, William F. Endell, a very good guy. He's very well published about international politics and geopolitical, the banking system and stuff like that. I haven't gotten to that one, but I read all his I read all his posts. Sometimes I even use his posts, and sometimes I actually use his audio work. Black Names Matter. I read a little bit of that. W. Wells, Solar Facts, Solar Black Folk. Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Okay, this one I had to get to. Sudden Violence, talking about martial arts and practice drills for self-defense. Sarah, I haven't read his. The Economic Singularity. I said these are ones I have to get to, but YouTube is actually slowing me down from reading. The Beta Male Revolution by Alan Roger Curry. Read that one. Decent book. Comic book. Decline of the West by Spengler. Decline of the West by Oswald Spengler. Very old book, very famous guy. Some of this stuff I got to get to. Back to my library. Ah, okay, American Hunger. It's okay. Why Married Men Cheat. Didn't like that one that much. Okay, The Franks. I got to read that one. Life Changing Magic of Tidying. That was actually good information about cleaning up your life and getting the junk out of your life. Decent book. Didn't like it that much. Lean In. Didn't. I read the sample. Didn't like it. Catherine the Great, a portrait. Why would we read Catherine? I actually have a audio book of Catherine the Great. Catherine the Great, if you don't know, basically is the famous queen of Russia, who happens to be a Prussian, which I didn't know until I started reading her books, her book and her biography, which has more to do with why the Western Europe attacked Russia. It has more to do with them kicking Catherine Great and the Prussian oligarchy out of Russia rather than communism. But that's a different story. These are the ones that I've sampled that because I sample a lot of books, and if it doesn't solve my problem, then I don't do it. Oh, here's a good one. Here's a good one that Obsidian should read: The Making of Global Capitalism by Sam Gendin and Leo Panich. Very dense book, but it explains how capitalism works because when you go to the chapters, it tells you each and every basic program from the 19th to the 20th century and how these economic policies were actually set up. Holy Roman Empire. Oh, Will Durant. That's one. This. If I had a chance to actually sit down and read like I should, I've read two of Will Durant's books because they're like 11 or 1200 pages long. Like Caesar and Christ is my favorite. The Life of Greece, Philosophy and Social. I think social practice. I think that's what it is. Let me see. Yeah, Socratic method stuff like that. Yeah. It is. My goal is to completely read all of William Durant's books. Short History of Prussia, a good book if you want to understand the German Empire. More than here's a good one that I've read that I've actually referenced many times. More than Title IX. Basically, how all the feminist policies were actually set up. Roost Street Pussy Paradise, yeah. And basically everybody's read Dataclysm, Love, Sex, and Race. This is basically a Christian Rudder of what is it? I can't remember the name of the site, the dating site, that was actually an expert in doing surveys. Black and White by Richard Williams. American Pimp. Enough said. Rosebud. Bachelor Pad Economics actually had good information by Aaron Clary. Men on Strike. Very good book. Slouching Towards Sirte. NATO's War in Libya in Africa. The Monsters We Make. Very good book written by a teacher about the black school system. Here's a favorite of mine, Laker Girl by Jeannie Buss. Now this one I've read parts of. I haven't continued reading it. It got kind of war. The GOP Civil War. Here's a good one. Love in a Time of Algorithms, by Dan Slater, talking about how all the how all the dating sites that came up, how they came about, and what the impetus was behind them. Diet book. Bismarck and the Foundation of the German Empire. The Iron Kingdom, The History of Germany. I got to reread these. Now, Divorce with Decency, Homo Mysterious. In other words, I have this is a good one. The Richer Sex. The Richer Sex, by Liz Monday. If you want to understand modern feminism and what their goal or objective is supposed to be, as far as breadwinners for women, as women, Richer Sex, read that one. What else do I have? Oh, Dark Alliance. You got to read Dark Alliance and Gary Webb about the crack cocaine. Spiritual Rules of Engagement is actually a good dating book from a perspective of the of of the Kabbalist, because it's written by Kabbalists. It's actually not bad. Let's see. What else we got? The Prince and the Autobiography of Ben Franklin. It's a good book. When I didn't talk about open source everything, actually a really really good book. And that's my Kindle. That's my Kindle. Let's get into my audio books, which I am behind on. But let's look up my Audible account. Now, I know I'm going to have to blur out some of my information, and I will do that. Here's some of my current books. I probably have to magnify this. Let's go down the list. Fire and Fury. Listen to some of that. Got to finish it up by Michael Wolff. Inside the Bush White House. 1177 BC. We're talking about when civilization collapsed after the basically 1177 BC. The basically Europe, the Europe, as far as the southern Europe, actually collapsed under the Greeks and had to rebuild itself. Here's a good one. Here's a real good one that I'm listening to right now. The Indigenous Peoples History of the United States by Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz. Excellent book. Excellent book. Excellent book. Now, this is one that Obsidian recommended. Disintegration and Splintering of Black America. It's okay. I haven't listened to this one yet. 13 hours inside of what really happened in Benghazi. Haven't really listened to Augustus. Haven't listened to that one yet. I've actually read some about Augustus Caesar. Augustus was probably considered, like I said, Augustus was called history's greatest emperor. In fact, Will Durant actually has several chapters about Augustus. In fact, he is other than Julius Caesar, he is Will Durant's second favorite Caesar. But actually, he was the best administrator of Rome. Here's the Rise and Fall of Alexandria. Okay, I haven't listened to that one yet. I'm behind. This is my load. This is just my book load. Lords of Finance. I actually read this book. Very good if you want to understand the gold system, because Liaquat Ahmed tracked the gold system, and in fact, there's something he said that actually attracted me to this book years ago when he said that the gold system is actually a straitjacket. And if you read that one along with Gold, Dollars, and Power, which I have suggested in other videos, then if you bring those two together, you will understand not only the gold system but also the fiat dollar system or Bretton Woods system that we're in now. I always suggest those two books. Nobody reads them, but I suggest them all the time. I have to get. This is another one I have to listen to. I can say I'm behind. I actually did listen to this one, Rethinking Infidelity by Esther Perel, because it talks about open marriages and cheating and that kind of stuff. Here's another one that I'm going to have to read by Sam Kionis, Dreamland, the true tale of America's opiate epidemic, because we haven't gone through that one yet. And there's more. I'm sure there's more. Now, this is it? Nah. Oh, this is past 6 months. All time. Let's look at this. Look at my all time. Let's go through all of it. Oh, The Power of Habit. Good book. Here's one that everybody should read. You should listen to or read. I actually have both. I have the PDF version and also have this one for me to listen to. Fourth Industrial Revolution by Klaus Schwab. If you don't read it, if you don't understand that, you don't understand where the world is going now. The Power of Habit. I have listened to that. It's okay. This is a good one. Particle Physics for Non-Physicists. Part of the great courses. I like great courses. This one I haven't listened to yet. I'm still behind. Upside. I've listened to parts of this. This is I've actually had interviews of Kenneth Grombeck talking about demographic shifts. If you don't know about demographics or understand it, then you don't know how our leaders plan our future. Alan Roger Curry again, Possibility of Sex. I listened to that. Sapiens, I haven't listened to that one yet. It's another one I got to listen to. Oh, by Francis Fukuyama. Like I said, I'm behind. Here's one that I haven't listened to that because of sitting down, I have to get to it. I haven't gotten to it yet. I'm actually listening to the audio book of Black Rednecks, which so far it's like, but I'll muscle through it. I will muscle through it. I don't really like right and left speak. Here's something Fukuyama. I actually listened to parts of this. I gotta finish it. I haven't listened to this one. Like I said, I'm behind. This is my reading load. Second Ships is this is my library. This is the stuff that I have to get to. This is stuff that I have to get to. Understand that understanding Lincoln is actually, if you want to understand slavery and the policies that came after, you have to understand Lincoln. So this is why I'm into this. Okay, Meditations. You already seen that. For another Fourth Industrial Revolution book. Yeah, it's okay. Oh, Algorithms We Live By. Okay, um, I think I just showed you that one. Oh, here's one, The Blank Slate, which is something that I liked by Steven Pinker, one of Obsidian's favorite. Haven't done that one yet. Haven't done that one yet. I got to get to that one. You see all these ones I got to get to. An Inherently Unequal. Okay, haven't got to that one yet. Wizard of Oz, I read that one when I was 7. Gilgamesh, I want to get to. That's fiction. What else do we have? Here's one that everybody should listen to or read. Thomas Piketty, Capital in the 21st Century, worldwide bestseller. Oh, here's one. Here's one that's interesting about cuckolding, the Wild Oats Project about an open marriage. Uh, it kind of sparked a debate like maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Smashing Physics about the Higgs boson. Read that. Actually, it's a pretty good book if you want to understand the Hadron Collider. It wasn't that bad. I liked it. Need to read that one and need to listen to that one. Need to get to it. What else we got? Let's go ahead and finish up. Okay, that's decent. Ta-Nehisi Coates, Between Me and the World. Listen to that. It's not bad. Here's one. Here's one that you want to understand. Once upon a time in Russia, um, about the oligarchs. A lot of violence after the fall of the Soviet Union, which is why I wanted to listen to it. And and the rise of Putin. You know how the oligarchs kind of took over and had got wealth, but also the rise of Putin and how he stepped in. So if you want to understand the oligarchs once upon a time in Russia. Ah, Walter Mosley. Walter Mosley. I haven't listened to Walter Mosley in a while. He hasn't come out with a decent book. I always make time to listen to Walter Mosley's books. My favorite author. He's my favorite author as far as fiction is concerned. Bold. Bold. About exponential technologies and future technology and how to take advantage of it. Here's one everybody should read or listen to at least. Howard W. French, China's Second Continent, how China's migration into Africa and building a new empire in Africa. Here's a very, very good one. Very, very good one. I'm sure Obsidian probably has never read any of Kissinger's book. Probably never will read any of Kissinger's book. The World Order. Very good. Kissinger, would like him or hate him, talks about how political policy is actually made. What events um, cause political policies to actually be implemented, and how they're implemented, how they're negotiated, and how that has been done all the time. I think he started with the 15th century, if I'm not mistaken, and kind of went through. Um, if you want to understand policy, I'm sure Obsidian doesn't read or listen to Kissinger. Kissinger's on China is probably one of the best books on China and China policy that you can read. If you really want to get a short order cook to understand, if you read Henry C.K. Lew and you read or listen to Henry Kissinger, you have a really good understanding about China and how China works politically and also financially. Ah, for the women and men, if you want to understand hormones and hormones and especially hormones of women, the alchemy of love and lust. Read the book years ago. Um, I've actually listened to the audio book to see what I actually can glean from it. An hour and 39 minutes of the abridged version doesn't do it justice. It kind of gives you the overview. Here's a good one. The Rise of Superman, Decoding the Science of Ultimate Human Performance. Decent book. Alright. That is my audiobook list. And this is the audiobooks that are on here. When I talk about the stuff I have on computer. Don't even want to go into it right now. I might. But that is just a sample of my reading list that we have gone over. So to say that I don't read or I'm not well read, no, I'm not as well read as some people would have it. I'm sure Obsidian has not read all 50 books of Thomas Sowell. If he has, he should do a book study on it instead of quoting some of the stuff that he has. And you should actually apply it. I actually put my articles, I actually put my stuff up front where you can actually see it. It's not something that, and I get this stuff daily. Last but not least, this is for you folks that are interested in some of the stuff that I follow, because I like Twitter because I used to have an app, an app that I would actually keep feed me articles, so I actually keep up on something that I'm interested in. But Twitter does some of the same thing. Okay, these are the um, people that I follow. Was Cerulean Ram? I can't remember why I follow her, but Richard Martin. But I'm saying these are some of the folks that not folks that I follow, but some of the news people that I follow, like China Global Television Network. Um, Pippa Malgrim. People don't know about her, but as far as geopolitics, I found her to be fairly accurate. New York Times, C-SPAN. When I can actually get to them, I don't have time to get to C-SPAN like I do. Asia Times. Asia Times is, people sleep on Asia Times. Asia Times is one of the better news blog sites of Asia in finance and politics. In other words, they tell a lot of truth that people won't tell. MSNBC, The Economist, I do follow them. Wall Street Journal. I have been subscribed to the Wall Street Journal since 1995. I don't think the Wall Street Journal is Left Wing Business Week. Hey, there's my boy Alan Roger Curry. China News, Russia Times, LA Times, my local paper. Forbes is not left wing. Business Insider and Zero Hedge. And there's probably many more that I follow that are on here, but this is my Twitter follower. My Twitter. Let's see what I have tweeted out, because I retweet a lot of stuff. This is some of the stuff that I have retweeted. It's Fully Robotic Kitchen. Richard Martin, federal government on track to borrow nearly $1 trillion this fiscal year. Uber versus Waymo trial. Oh, Amazon shaking up the healthcare industry that's ripe for disruption. I could do this all day. I could do this all day. This is stuff that I've retweeted out. How many people look at the World Economic Forum? Or even know about the World Economic Forum? How many does Obsidian know? Has Obsidian ever read or knows how to trade financial instruments? The answer is probably no. Has he ever read a book on it? Answer is probably no. This is just a partial list of stuff that I have to read, that I have to go through. These are just the retweets that I've done, and I don't do it every day. I don't do it nearly as much as I should. But these are the retweets. Does Obsidian do retweets like this? Does he? Is he interested in the same kind of stuff? Does he know about the World Economic Forum? Because we're talking about intellect. And for somebody that's not a professor, that doesn't get paid, Notifications, what's going on? Oh, these are people asking me about shit. Okay. All right. We'll get to that later. Now, what's the last thing I want to show you? I'm trying to think what the last thing I want to show you. Now, let me pause this. Now, here's some of the stuff that I'm working on today that I got to read. That I've read parts of, but I got to read. This is going to go about, this is about basically crime and poverty that are in how basically how crime and well, especially violent crime, how poverty or economic disruption can cause an upsurge in crime and poverty. Some of the stuff I got to read. Okay, Puerto Rico surge as Hurricane Maria recovery continues. It costs more to house a prisoner in Illinois than to send them to DePaul. Uh, Latin American cities unequal, dangerous, and fragile, but that can change. This is from the World Economic Forum, which is one I'm going to actually use. I like their charts, but that's coming up. So for you guys, for Samuel Calvin and a few other people. This is another one about the Medellin and how they transformed the city of Medellin and brought the murder rate down. Same thing about Colombia. And see what else we got. Uh, Crime in Mexico, murder rate reaches record high, and nobody's talking about it. Um, Violent crime is at 20-year in Mexico at 20-year high. This is why Mexico political parties don't want to fix it. See, poverty, a recruitment tool for Mexico's criminal gangs. And there's no such thing as an American homicide rate. Some things people want me to look at is about this chick that charged, called for 30 million meals for Puerto Ricans and only 50,000 were delivered. And they're trying to sue her. They cut off her contract, but she's trying to sue. Now, here's another one I have to get to. See, this is what stuff I actually want to get to instead of this bullshit mud wrestling. Rex Tillerson talking about drastic action against one of the world's biggest oil producers. Again, this is their more drastic action against um, Venezuela. Venezuela is trying to use cryptocurrencies to bypass sanctions, and they don't want the Venezuela off their tit. Let's see what else we got. A huge increase of homeless in LA. Okay, but mostly for mostly for minor offenses. Something I want to get to, which is the opioid epidemic driving children into foster care. See, I don't want to mud wrestle because it's um, I don't want to mud wrestle because there's a lot of stuff that I want to get to that don't include this kind of crap. There's a connection between poverty and inequality and firearm violence. What this guy said, he's a professor from UCLA. What he's saying is that the violence is not always a person to another person. He said that actually the a lot of the violence caused by poverty is suicide. So you see in rural areas the poverty results in suicide, whereas in urban areas it's people killing each other for financial gain. Here's another one I want to get to. The Bank of International Settlement reports global liquidity indicators. Anytime you're going to have interest rates rise or in currencies going to fluctuate, the first thing you want to do is jump to the Bank of International Settlements and see what's up. False choice between automation and job. See, this is my reading load. This is what I got to go through every day. U.S. city experiments with the universal basic income. China installed a railgun. In other words, this is automation in Kroger and Amazon, with Amazon and Kroger in West Virginia. See, a lot of this stuff I want to get to. Here's a good one that we haven't talked about: Amazon Health. How Amazon is planning on disrupting the health market. A lot of this stuff that I want to get to that I can't do because I'm constantly mud wrestling with people. And this is my response: the bigotry of whatever. Everybody can't read everything. I don't expect Obsidian to read everything. I don't expect Obsidian to read Henry C. Kaler or Will Durant or Kissinger or all of the other things that I read. I don't expect them to read it. Hell, I can't read it half of this shit. Okay? I got about 20 books that I've just ordered that not I just ordered that I've been ordering that I can't even get to. We're not even talking about the books on tape. I got books on tape that are not even that I haven't even shown you. But people are saying that you're not well read. I put what I read up. People ask me about a reading list or a book. They're constantly asking me about books and a reading list. Obsidian reads what he reads. Cerulean reads a lot more than I can. Okay, uh, Obsidian's never read Origins and Evolution of Religion. He never read it. He doesn't know anything about astrology. Okay, he's never read any books on that. He doesn't even know anything about it. He doesn't know anything about Gnosticism for the most part. Okay, I read stuff on the Kabbalah. There's stuff a lot of stuff that I actually read. Hell, half the time I don't have time to sit down and read this shit. Especially with YouTube because I'm reading them. I'm not gonna say dumbass comments. I'm responding to comments in emails. Like I have a book that I'm reading on about the Luddites because I believe the Luddites actually helped transition to socialism. I think socialism and and those programs were actually a response to the Luddites and the anti industrial or anti automation conflicts that were arising amongst the populace. I haven't gotten to that. There's stuff that I have to get to that. There's books, like I said, there's books I have to read on Lincoln. I got Lincoln and the Railroads that's sitting up there that I have to read. There's tons and tons of stuff. There's tons of books that I have forgotten that I've read, conspiracy and otherwise. Now, Thomas Sowell has not risen to the level of importance to me, and I said that there's nothing important that of Thomas Sowell that I want to read. But I have started red was it black rednecks and white liberals. Okay, I've started on that. I've actually because I said I would, like the article that he proposed from the Daily Beast that he didn't research. Okay, I had to spend 3 hours researching it and running down the veracity of the information that took away from the other times that I have to read or listen to stuff. Okay, there's other things I want to do in my life other than research for free just to win a freaking argument. That's why I don't like to mud wrestle because people you present your facts, you present your stuff, and people want to deflect into another argument because this is just a deflection into another argument. He hasn't responded to the post that I put up. Now he wants to talk about fucking Thomas Sowell. I don't give a shit. I will get to Thomas Sowell. When I start reading Thomas Sowell, then we'll reflect upon it. Me being well read, you know, you have one topic. I got 15. You have one topic. I got 15. I have 15 different branches of curiosity that I have, and some of it is this, some of it is religious, some of it is esoteric, some of it is financial. I spread myself pretty thin. I don't have time to concentrate on people I'm not interested in. Well, if Thomas Sowell was saying something that was earth-shattering and important, I would trust and believe I would read him. If Thomas Sowell was on the level of Carol Quigley, trust and believe I would read him. I read I read people for very specific reasons. Okay, the people that I read, the people that I listen to, have been around for a while and have been suggested to me from multiple sources. Thomas Sowell has not. Thomas Sowell is on the vanguard of Jewish conservatives, some Jewish conservatives. Some Jewish conservatives, not all of them, some Jewish conservatives, and some black conservatives. Not a lot of them, some. Now, if Obsidian wants to put up his reading list and what he has read, because I'm not as steeped in black literature as I should be. I have partners in my circle that are far more steeped in black literature than I am. I have never claimed to be steeped in black literature. I read the stuff that I have to read to understand the problems I have to read that I have. And that's how I read. And it doesn't matter who has the answers. Now, if Obsidian wants to read what I read, fair exchange. If I'll match him book for book. You read one of mine, I'll read one of yours. If you want to read Tragedy and Hope, which is like 1,300 pages, I will read Thomas Sowell or whatever book of Thomas Sowell's that you have. You have not read the evolutions of civilizations, but you want me to read Thomas Sowell. You have not read Tragedy and Hope, but you want me to read Thomas Sowell. You haven't even glanced at Henry C.K. Lou or Asia Times, but you want me to read Thomas Sowell, which I think is fair. If you want me to read something, I think it's fair that you quid pro quo. Read what I read. I'm not even asking you to read what I read on a daily basis. This is stuff that I have to go through on a daily basis. This is just my reading. And what I've shown you is just my reading list just today that I got to go through. Just today. And then I got to filter through what's going on YouTube when I have to, herd cats. But anyway, that's my response. Because, to basically to bullshit. But anyway, I'm gonna jump off of here. This has gone on long enough. This is what I read. I got to edit this because I had to depersonalize some of this information. But with that, I'm gonna jump off here. This is BGS out, and I'll see you guys later.